Yeah, I mean, you prepare off the film that you have, but, man, I just keep telling our guys, no matter what. I mean, we clinched the 1 seed, feels like 100 days ago. But and you got all this time, and everyone wants to talk about all this stuff that leads up to it, and there's a lot of stuff to think about, but it comes down to what you do in 3.5 hours. And if you got a little amount of time to prepare for that, a lot amount of time, if it's a team you've played for 3 times, a team you haven't played in 2 years, there's lots of things to think about and talk about. All we try to do is study the film and prepare for how those 3.5 hours will go. But once it starts, you just cut it loose and you ride. And I think that's the hard thing about the weeks and stuff is you just tell guys don't have preconceived notions. Don't think it's going to be these teams because these are the ones you've heard about. Just we'll watch the film, we'll put in the scheme and stuff, and you guys take care of your bodies and get ready to come in and learn it.
There he is, Kyle Shanahan, getting ready for Saturday, 5:15, where we'll either not rain, drizzle or not drizzle, depending on the app you look at. And rested Brock Purdy will take on can we call them the upstart Green Bay Packers?
You can't say upstart Packers.
Yes, I can, definitely. That's exactly what they are. So David Lombardi of The Athletic doing his thing, as always, covering the team great. David, good morning. Welcome to Murph and Marcus. How you doing, man?
Hey, morning, David.
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing good. Listen, we were talking about it's like name a box and it checks. 1 seed and you get the rest, check. Being at home on the Saturday game, check. Not having to playing the lowest ranked team, check. Every player but Cleve Farrell coming back, check. Am I forgetting anything, David, or is this about the optimal scenario for the 49ers?
This is exactly what they worked for during the regular season. I think that there are parallels to 2019 when they earned that number 1 seed. They did that by the skin of their teeth, though. They needed the Dre Greenlaw stop in Seattle to get it, but they got the bye week. They got rested, and then that defense went and got after it. It was a clear path to the Super Bowl. They beat the Vikings and then the Packers at Levi Stadium. Neither of those 2 games was close. So the idea for the 49ers is to execute the same kind of trajectory that they executed in 2019. Now, the Green Bay is going to have something to say about that because they're playing really, really well offensively. Jordan Love, ever since around week 9, which is right about when the 49ers turned it around as well. The 49ers had that hot streak, then they had the 3-game losing streak. Both of these teams got hot at about the same time, and Green Bay's been 8-3 since then. Jordan Love has been playing top 5 football since then. And I think the 49ers' one advantage is actually going to come on the other side of the ball when Green Bay's on defense.
Okay, I want to start right there, actually, because we were talking earlier today we were going to ask you about where the Niners run the ball. We had Leroy Butler on, and he was saying, we can't stop the run, and Dallas threw it 60 times, which was awesome. But so the Niners are well known to run to the left. Trent Williams. Did I see, I think, a stat you had, as the season went on, did they start to balance that out or run a little bit more to Colton McKivitz's side? What has been their trend?
Well, I think running left is the 49ers' strong suit. It's almost a cheat code, right? When you send Trent Williams out on George Kittle out on that combo block with Trent Williams on the left side, the 2 probably future Hall of Famers in George Kittle and Trent Williams working on the left side. So that's what teams have focused to stop. When you do that, you're going to open up the right side. And I think Colton McKivitz has been a better run blocker than pass blocker. And guess what? George Kittle, he's an ambidextrous blocker. You can send him out in motion to the right side. You can send Kyle Juszczyk out in motion to the right side to help out with Colton McKivitz and whoever else is blocking there. Plus your receivers can block. So any great run game has to be able to go to both sides to be able to punish a defense for trying to cheat on one of the sides.
And David, we know how important both George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey are to the 49ers run game, but I wanted to ask you about their passing attack this weekend and how you think they match up attacking the middle of the field against guys like Quay Walker and Devondre Campbell.
Well, that's where the 49ers have the biggest edge in this game. Devondre Campbell used to be one of the better cover linebackers in the NFL, but he's a little bit older now. I think he's dealt with some injuries over the past couple years. And even when he was playing his best coverage, if you remember the Snow Globe game back in 2021 over there in Lambeau, it was hard to throw, obviously, for very obvious reasons. But the 49ers needed to throw to put themselves into position to kick that game-winning field goal. And they split George Kittle out into the slot, and they saw Devontae Campbell start to follow him, so they knew it was going to be man coverage. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo checked into it or not. I forgot. I was talking about this in the locker room. I remember I was just so cold at that game, so I don't remember. But they decided to pass in the snow, in the wind, in the cold, and that was a huge, huge play at the beginning of that drive that ended up in the Robbie Gould field goal that sticks out to me, because without that play, I don't think they moved the ball downfield to set themselves up for the win. And it was Devontae Campbell that George Kittle beat. And I look this year at some of the numbers, and I start watching the tape. Campbell's given up his worst passer rating of his career. Quay Walker, who's the other linebacker, has given up 500 yards through the air. Both of these guys have struggled against the adaptable weapons that are becoming more and more commonplace in the NFL. And guess who started this whole adaptable weapon trend? Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers did. They've got Christian McCaffrey. They have George Kittle. They have a lot of players who can really strain these Green Bay linebackers who have struggled in coverage this year. And the Packers are number 27 against running backs and tight ends running backs coming out of the backfield and tight ends in the pass game.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, the numbers aren't gigantic at all for this Green Bay Packers team. That said, the other side of the ball, the guy who really puts a little fear of God in you is the running back Aaron Jones. He runs behind these blockers, but man, 4 straight games, I think, with at least 111 yards. He's always been a good player. He was hurt. Eric Armstead, yes, coming back, but Cleve Ferrell being out. I know the Athletic Matt Barrows, you guys wrote about maybe Gregory and Young not as accomplished at setting the edge. Is Aaron Jones a legit worry point for this Niners defense?
Well, the Packers are a lot like the 49ers, especially now that Jordan Love is running the show. He's not freelancing as much as Aaron Rodgers. So what I mean by that is that they're a really balanced offense, and they're going to run the play action. They're going to run with Aaron Jones, as you're talking about, and then they're going to throw to a big assortment of weapons. So they're very diverse offensively. So Aaron Jones, yes, absolutely, you got to worry about him, but you can't forget about everybody else. And that's why Green Bay put up that franchise record 48 points on the Cowboys, because they were able to attack Dallas from a bunch of different angles, keep Dallas off balance with the run game, and then hit them with a play-action pass, and then vice versa. Keep Dallas soft with the pass game, and then run for 118 yards with Aaron Jones. So I don't think this is a game where you're going to shut Green Bay out. I think this is a game where you have to slow them down and then hope that your offense does more damage against Green Bay's defense, which is significantly worse than the 49ers defense.
And David, one of the things that stood out to me about the Packers' offensive performance last week against the Cowboys was the fact that Jordan Love was not sacked a single time by Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys front seven. So we're talking about a Packers offensive line that does not have David Bakhtiari right now. So how do you think that matchup plays out with their young kind of outside tackles facing off against guys like Nick Bosa and Chase Young?
Well, Green Bay every single season under Matt LaFleur has had really good metrics on the offensive line. They've done a really good job in pass protection, and this season has been no different even without David Bakhtiari. That said, Jordan Love is also very good under pressure. The two most efficient quarterbacks under pressure this year in the NFL are Brock Purdy and Jordan Love at like 8.7 yards per attempt for Purdy and 8 yards per attempt for Love. So I think that the main lesson here is that we're looking at two quarterbacks who are playing elite level football that are going to be going up against each other in this game on Saturday. And obviously protecting them is going to be important. But last week, even when Dallas got some pressure on Jordan Love, some of the off-platform throws off of his back foot, that touchdown that he threw toward the end of the first half off his back foot over the middle of the field was tremendously impressive. So we'll see how the 49ers are able to man this battle up front. I know that Green Bay had an awesome offensive line in 2019, and the 49ers completely swamped it twice. That was at the prime of the gold rush with Nick Bosa and a healthy D Ford coming off the edges. I know in 2021, the Packers, I think, owned the day up front. Even in the game where the 49ers won in the postseason, that was more of a coverage game for the 49ers. You had Dante Johnson start that game and actually play really well for San Francisco. So I think the 49ers pass rush isn't quite what it was in 2019 at its prime, but I think it's better than 2021 and 2022. We'll see which Chase Young shows up in this game. But the Packers are good up front too, so it should be a hell of a battle. And the reason that I'm outlining it is I think it's going to be a defense-wide task for the 49ers. I think the coverage is going to have to fuel the rush in this game. That's how good the Packers have been offensively. You can't just win with one tool in your belt for the 49ers. You're going to have to play good team football, and that coverage is going to have to make Jordan Love take that extra hitch, because that offensive line should protect them for at least a little bit of time.
It's fascinating. I mean, nobody expected the Packers. They were 6-8. They were dead. They won 3 in a row. They clocked the Dallas Cowboys, which is amazing. Any other injuries that you're looking at as we kind of wrap up here with David Lombardi of The Athletic? I mean, we talked about a little bit about Armstead. I mean, Clay Furrow a little bit. Jair Alexander was limited for the Packers. Is there a key injury in either?
The Dre Greenlaw Achilles tendonitis, David? What's going on there?
Is there or on either side, key injuries before we let you go?
Dre Greenlaw has been on the injury report for most of the season with one issue or the other. I think he's just such a physical player, and it's a long season. 49ers aren't worried about him. He should be back out at practice today. For all intents and purposes, the 49ers are healthier than they've been all season. Maybe even I guess you got some of the guys on IR for the year, like Talanoa Hufanga. So, but besides that, though, right now, like the 49ers, as you said at the top of this interview, are in ideal position health-wise. As far as Green Bay, I'd look out for Jair Alexander, left with that ankle injury against the Cowboys. He's obviously a really good corner, but if he's a little slowed down, that's somebody you try to pick on.
David, great stuff, man. And, by the way, you bringing your rain gear Saturday?
I don't know. And I hope that we get a clearer forecast by the time the game shows up. It depends on where I look right now. So
I know.
I get people arguing with me no matter what I tweet about it. You know, I'll say it's not going to rain. It's like, no, there's a 90% chance. And then you say it's going to rain, and people try to correct you saying it won't. I don't think anybody really knows. So I think it's par for the course, though. I mean, the 49ers, even when they've earned home field advantage back in the dynastic years, I remember rainy games at Candlestick. So you got to be able to win in weather in the postseason. That's just part of the job.
100%. Great stuff, David. You're doing a great job of covering the team. We'll keep reading you at The Athletic. Thanks for hopping on.